Choose a cross-legged position. If your hips need a little bit more support, go ahead and sit on a block. That will take the pressure off of the front of your hips and give you a wee bit more space for your lower back as well. So that might feel like a better option to start off with. Especially if this is the first bit of movement you're doing today, I would take more options like that. It will make things feel a little bit easier to negotiate with. Bring the hands to rest onto the knees and do a little bit of a pulling action with the arms. Use that pulling action to start to switch on the muscles between your shoulder blades, but also some of these heavy lifters down the sides, drawing the shoulder blades back and pulling down. And use your lats and your back muscles to assist you in lifting your chest up. Close your eyes and start to deepen your breath. So as we move through the session today, I want you to focus predominantly on the relationship between strength and softness. So instead of seeing these as mutually exclusive, where it's either going to be brute force that gets you into the pose or a complete flop, I want you to feel that there is a really delicate balance that can be struck between the two. So exploring that there can be a suppleness even if you are at a very strong edge. And the same that when you are softly moving through poses, you can support it properly with your strength. So explore that relationship in every pose that we're working today. Bring the soles of the feet together into Badakanasana. Soles of the feet together and knees wide. If you're tighter in the hips, move the feet further forwards. If you're sitting elevated, come down so you're sitting on the ground. Apologies if you can hear the dog. Take the left hand out to the left and be on the fingertips. Inhale, bring the right arm up, palm faces forwards. Exhale, wrap right shoulder blade towards the underarm and flatten the left palm. Inhale, lift up through right side low ribs. Exhale, get the right shoulder blade spinning forward so you feel the underarm muscles are firing up. But at the same time, exploring that relationship between strength and softness, it's not to the point that everything is jammed and seized. It should feel like there is still some capacity for movement in this. One of the areas that you can find a wee bit more softness is through the sides of the neck, letting the left ear lean to the left. Not so that you get a stretch, there's not going to be a stretch evident at this part, but at least so the neck isn't straining. Stage 2. Exhale, reach the right hand to the right and down so the hand is lower than your shoulder. Draw the shoulders down away from your ears and relax left ear to the left. Explore whether turning the chin downwards or angling the chin upwards gives you a better stretch for this right side of the neck. So you might find as you work here that bringing some softness into the neck is a great way to work. To feel that strength and connection, press the soles of the feet into one another and actively widen the knees. So you're not trying to use your arms to do that. Use your muscles, your rotators, your abductors to create that widening sensation whilst working active feet. Moving with your neck relaxed, inhale to reach with that right arm. Use the left hand and then lift your head up so you're not straining your neck. If this soles of the feet together is turning out to be the worst decision you've ever made in your life, switch to a cross-legged, there'll be less pressure on your hips. Otherwise, you're welcome to stay there. If your strength element is feeling more like stubbornness, choose something else. Let that be where you are supple today. Inhale, bring the left arm up, palm faces forwards. Exhale, wrap that left shoulder blade towards the underarm and flatten the right palm. Inhale, lift up through left side ribs. Exhale, left elbow is spinning forwards to help give you that connection to the muscles running down the left side of your back. Anchor down through your left sit bone. So be vigilant. Your butt might still be on the floor, but you've lost bony contact, the only meaningful contact one can have. Put that sit bone back down. That was a strange statement. Maybe don't think too much on that one. Staying in the pose, stage 2. Exhale, reach that left arm to the left and down so the hand is lower than the shoulder and glide your shoulder blades down. Allow the right ear to relax to the right, getting the stretch coming into the left side of your neck and shoulder. Be flexible in what you're doing so that this side, if it requires maybe a chin down and the previous side was chin up, be willing to pursue that. I also assume it's not the last time you're ever going to try and stretch your neck, so you don't need to try and do all of the neck release now and then never again for the rest of time. So feel where is necessary now. Coming up, inhale to reach with that left arm to come up, use the right hand on the side of your head and then lift your head up. Switch the legs towards cross-legged, either with the left leg in front of the right, or if it feels like a more flexible day and the knees are happy enough with this, then bring the left foot up into half lotus. Now my preference for lotus positions, if your ankles are the joint that is opening the most, I would rather the heel was more in line with the front bones of the pelvis, so the sticky out front bit, so that actually the heel is further over to the side than you might think. Interlace your fingers behind your head. Inhale, pull your head upwards and press your head backwards. Exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades back so it might just feel like you're just doing a morning stretch. Deep breath in. Do not move your pelvis. Exhale, twist to the left. So as you twist your torso to the left, pelvis is staying static and you'll feel yourself being limited by this active range of motion. I'm curious about that. So as you explore this line between strength and softness, are you going so far you can barely breathe, or is there a way to soften the edge and still feel like you're challenging the movement? Second stage. Exhale, release the right hand outside the left knee. Either put the left fingertips on the floor but closer to your right hip, or that arm might feel comfortable coming around the back to hold the lotus foot. Inhale, lift the ribcage up away from the ground. Exhale, use both arms to turn the chest to the left. Anytime we're working twisting poses, instead of just yanking yourself around the corner, focus primarily on an elongation of the spine first before rotating. This isn't the only twisting pose we're going to meet today. There's definitely more coming your way. Stay in the pose, but do an exhale through the mouth until you are completely empty. Do a super slow inhale, and during that super slow inhale, lift each section of your spine up away from the pelvis. Inhale, come back through center, change the cross in your legs. So that might be cross-legged, might be half lotus. If you're doing lotus, endeavor that the ankle isn't buckling or sickling in any way whatsoever. Otherwise, the ankle ligaments just get really, really loose, and that's not a fun situation. Interlace the fingers behind your head. Also, if lotus isn't a thing, don't panic. You're not going to get to the end of your life and go, no, I didn't get lotus. Inhale, pull your head up towards the ceiling. Exhale, squeeze those shoulder blades back and begin that rotation to the right. As you do the rotation, the head loves to fall forward. That's why you're holding your head. Push your head back into your hands and lift your chest up. If this is feeling like a side bend, it's usually the right ribs that get a wee bit crushed here. Lift up through both sides evenly and rotate your chest. Notice if rotate your chest has turned into rotating your neck. Get the chest moving. You'll feel some of those big structural muscles in your back starting to wake up. Staying in the twist, release the left hand outside the right knee, the right fingertips behind the back. Those right fingertips are going to go closer to the left hip or coming around the back to hold the lotus foot. Now, we've not really done any shoulder stuff except for side bend, so don't panic if that arm isn't fully accessible. If you are holding the foot, instead of it just being a hook that's not doing anything, pull with it. So you get that mechanical assistance to draw you deeper into the pose. Inhale, anchor down into your sit bones, lift up through your low spine. Head up. Exhale, pull belly muscles in, use your arms to assist in turning the chest. Head loves to fall forwards here. Now, I joke, like when I write my novel about my divorce, it's going to be called The Cascade of Collapse. There is a cascade of collapse that happens as soon as you drop your head and everything in your spine is having to work harder to hold that up. Lift your skull atop your shoulders. And if you steal my name, Cascade of Collapse, I will come for you. Inhale, bring yourself back through center, unravel your legs, give them a little bit of a shake out if you're not used to this level of cross-legged poses first thing. You're coming down for elbow to knee. I want to show you one of the options you'll be working as the second piece of this abdominal. Apparently everything you're getting is in 2 parts today. So part 1 of elbow to knee goes like this. Inhale, shoulders lift, holding the breath, tailbone curls up, exhale, elbows reach left, right leg straightens, belly pulls down. That's part 1. When we move on to part 2, it's all going to seem very familiar, except that the leg will go straight up. Same hand as leg is going to go really close to the hip, so not the knee, close to the hip, pushing the hand onto the thigh, pushing the thigh onto the hand to provide a little additional hip flex whilst doing the action pull belly down. So the idea is to create some resistance rather than just arbitrarily touching your leg and doing absolutely nothing. Following that up with bridge, if you prefer, and I would prefer you to do something with the roll or the block to the inner thighs, then you'll be working with the hips up before we come up from the mat. Okay, elbow to knees first. Come down onto your back. Get the knees up so the knees are above your hips. If your low back is feeling a little bit more tender today, get the knees so they're just slightly more above your belly button. This will help you take the pressure off. Interlace the fingers behind your back, behind your head, can't speak. Bring the elbows in close and then lift your head and shoulders up. Put a hand onto your low front ribs. Without pressing your back flat, draw the low ribs down so it feels like they're kind of meshing down into the abdomen a bit more. Maintain that throughout the abdominal. Inhale, press the pelvis down, both hands behind the head. Hold your breath, curl the tailbone up. Exhale, reach elbows left, right leg extends towards the front of the mat at about a 45-degree angle, pull abdomen down. Inhale, bend legs, head and shoulders come back through center. Hold your breath, curl tailbone up. Exhale, reach elbows to the right, left leg straightens, reach out actively through the left toes, pull abdomen down. Inhale, bend legs, shoulders come back through center. Hold your breath, curl tailbone up. Exhale, reach elbows left, right leg straightens, pull belly down. Inhale, head and shoulders back through center, bend both legs. Hold your breath, curl tailbone up. Exhale, reach elbows right, left leg straightens, reach out through the ball of the foot, right shoulder blade is off the mat, belly down. Inhale, bend legs, stage 2. Hold your breath, super slowly curl tailbone up. Exhale, reach elbows left, right leg goes straight up. Deep breath in, stay with this, put your right hand on your right thigh. Exhale, push your hand into your thigh into your hand, curl the tailbone up a bit more, pull belly down. Inhale, bend the legs, head and shoulders come back through center. Hold your breath, curl tailbone up. Exhale, reach elbows right, left leg straightens. Take a deep breath in and put the left hand on the left thigh. So we're taking an extra breath cycle here. Exhale, push your hand into your leg into your hand. Even use that to help pull the thigh bone upwards away from the pelvis, pull belly down. Inhale, bend legs, head and shoulders to center. Hold your breath, curl tailbone up. Exhale, reach elbows left, right leg goes up, press the right hand into the thigh into the hand, pull the thigh upwards, pull belly down. Inhale, bend legs, head and shoulders to center. Hold your breath, curl tailbone up. Exhale, reach elbows right, left leg goes up, left hand on the thigh, push hand into thigh into hand, pull abdomen down. Inhale, bend your legs, head down, and then feet down. Tuck your chin to help lengthen through the back of the neck, and then draw your shoulders down away from your ears, palms face up, getting ready for bridge. If you know you prefer to do this with something in the inner thighs, go ahead and take that. Exhale, push into your feet, curl tailbone up, and then lift your pelvis. Inhale, move the breastbone towards the back of your mat. Exhale, push into the feet, but the toes themselves are lifting and spreading. So not lifting to your tiptoes, feet are definitely flat, but lifting the toe tips. This is a good time to reconnect to the intent. It's difficult during the abdominals with repeated cycling of instruction, but here you can connect to the strength of your legs, but a softness in your shoulders and your neck. Especially if perhaps the bridges in your past that you've done, specifically the poses, not meaning to be too metaphorical here, especially if the bridges in your past have required you to brace with your arms. So it's a really common thing in the yoga world. So instead, just relax your shoulders, make this a leg-based affair. Exhale, lower down through your shoulders, mid-back, low back, and then set your pelvis down. Roll to your left, use your arms and bring yourself up from the ground, coming up with your neck relaxed, and then come onto all fours. So we're moving into a dolphin variation. If you're able to support dolphin with the forearms parallel, then you've got the green light to go for the one arm variation, which will be extending the arm back. If your shoulders are feeling a bit growly today, I want you instead to do the hands clasped version, which means no single arm version, but you can do single leg version, which is taking one leg up towards the ceiling. Okay, come down onto your elbows. Grab the upper arms to get a rough gauge of how far apart to set the elbows. It is a very rough gauge, so don't get too panicked about the exacts of this. Set the forearms parallel. If they don't look very parallel or it feels like they're slipping inwards, go ahead and clasp the hands. You'll be doing a single leg lift in dolphin. If your forearms are parallel, press down through the thumb part of your hand and the inside of your wrist. Inhale, lift up between your shoulder blades. Exhale, squeeze your chest muscles, relax the neck, tuck toes and lift the knees up. Hands clasped, people, lift your left leg up. Those of you working with the forearms parallel, inhale to reach your right hand for your right calf, ankle or heel and pull with that arm. So not only are you pulling with the arm to pull yourself towards the leg, but also pulling that right shoulder blade towards the ceiling. So this is a challenge for stability. Now obviously if that doesn't feel great, you can go back to having two forearms on the ground. If you've taken your left leg up, go ahead and take the left leg down. Inhale, reset the forearms. If you need to put the knees down to do a full forearm reset so it's definitely parallel, then go ahead and do that. Moving into Dolphin Strut on the second side. Clasped people, inhale to lift the right leg. Strut people, exhale to reach the left hand for the outside of the calf, ankle or heel and pull back with that arm. Same time, push the left leg towards the back of your mat. Left shoulder blade pulls away from your ear. So this is a challenge for shoulder stability. If it's too strong, you can go back to working with the forearms down and we can play with stability later. If you're doing right leg up, so especially hands clasped people, go ahead and bring that leg down. If you're holding the left ankle, let go of it and then set the knees down. And then come up. Give your arms a little bit of a shake. That's a tough weight bear. If you're wondering why it's hard, you've got all your body weight on one arm whilst trying to do that wrap shoulder thing. And if that's new, which it's going to be, still going to feel quite new, then that's going to feel challenging. Stand up, come to the front of your mat. So we're going to move through a few rounds of Surya Namaskar A. That's different to the one with the lunges that we've been working. This is the one that can get a wee bit springy, so you build a little bit more heat a little bit quicker. Feet are hip distance apart, shift the weight towards your heels, and then do that action of tuck tailbone down just enough you feel the buttock muscles firing up, so it's not just completely soft. Inhale, take the arms up. Forward bend. Exhale, fold from the waist, bringing the hands down. Legs can bend as much as they need to assist with the forward bend. Half lift. Inhale, scoop your chest forwards. Ideally, ribs and thighs are still in contact. Plank. Hands go down. You can either step it back or hop it back. You may want to step the first few. Exhale, bend elbows. Elbows are above the wrists as you lower down to the mat. Cobra. Inhale, lift the chest, push into the feet. And especially if your screen is on the floor and you're following that, pick your head up so you're not forgetting the neck part. Downward facing dog. Exhale, press the hips up and back. Lengthen the skull towards your hands. You don't need to look at them, but feel that it's not dropped down or even tucked. It's an odd creature. Have a wee look to your hands. Half lift. Inhale to either step or hop the feet to the hands and scoop the chest forwards. Forward bend. Exhale. Inhale, scoop the chest forwards. Push through your feet, come up to standing. Exhale, hands together at chest. So feeling that nuance of the intent of strength and softness, there are strong elements to this, there are soft elements of this. Can you fuse a little bit more of the two without going kind of into like a brain switch off, which with repetitive movement is really easy to get into. Inhale, reach up, push down with your feet. Forward bend, exhale. Half lift, inhale, articulate the chest forwards. If you're going to do the hop back, get your shoulders moving in front of the wrists. All right, chaturanga, exhale, step or hop back, bend the elbows. So it's a wee bit of a plunged position to come down from. Cobra, inhale, lift the chest, push into the feet, tailbone tucks towards the heels. Downward facing dog, exhale, press the hips up. Half lift. Inhale, step or hop, so it's the reverse. You stay pretty low to the ground as you come forwards. Forward bend, exhale. Inhale, scoop your chest forwards, come all the way up towards standing. Exhale, hands come together at chest. One more like that. Inhale, reach up, push down with the feet. Forward bend, exhale. Half lift, inhale, articulate the chest forwards. Chaturanga, exhale, step or hop back. Cobra or upward dog. If you're doing up dog, thighs and pelvis are lifted. My thighs are off the floor, I swear it. They're just so meaty. Downward facing dog, exhale. You might be able to tell I'm not exactly getting out much. Half lift, look forwards, whoever he is. Inhale, step or hop forwards. Forward bend, exhale. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, lift the chest up. Exhale, hands come together at chest. So I said we're doing one more, but we're going to use this to come into the next thing. Inhale, reach up, and then bend your legs for chair. So feet are still tracking hip distance apart. Knees are going forwards as you reach. If your butt is curling under, instead swing your butt towards the back of the mat. Reach forwards and up. So as if you were going for like a nice high shelf tea. You know, the one that's going to be at least 3 pounds. Forward bend, exhale, bring the hands down. Half lift, inhale, scoop your chest forwards. Chaturanga, exhale, step or hop back, bend the elbows. Cobra or upward facing dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Eagle Warrior 2, step your left foot through. Right foot sets parallel to the back of the mat and come up so you're facing the right side of your mat, but the arms are relaxed. Bend into that left leg and feel for a widening action through the thighs, so that rotation, but without clamping the pelvis into a tuck down. You should be able to still move your pelvis a little bit here, but without the knees falling inwards. Eagle arms, bring the arms up. Take that left arm up and over the right and wrap the arms until you find the hands. If the hands are not available, hold the shoulder heads and lift the elbows up. Inhale, lift the elbows up to about the height of the shoulders. Exhale, draw your shoulder blades down and press into your feet. So aim to get that widening action through the left knee. So here you have a pose where your strength is being challenged in the lower part, but softness is being invited simultaneously into that tucked tailbone, but also into the shoulders. Use deep breathing to help explore that edge. Extended warrior. Inhale, release the arms. Set your left forearm onto your thigh, so that left hip has to pivot a wee bit under. Left forearm onto the leg and reach the right arm back. So we're going to do a very specific target here. Turn the right palm so your thumb is pointing down. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder back and press the palm back. So I call this crowd control, back when there used to be crowds. So it's not necessarily relatable content, I'm afraid. Inhale, scoop your chest towards the front of the mat. Exhale, press the right arm back so you feel the muscles between your right shoulder blade and your spine are awakening. If the arm is there but it's limp, press. If your shoulder's hinging forwards, can you roll the shoulder blade back and get that single arm shoulder blade squeeze? It's going to make more sense later. Lunge variation. Inhale, set your hands down, put your right knee down and lower your hips first so we get this base structure. The right hand is going to start completely under the shoulder and then move 1 foot further forwards, all right, but it's still in line with the right knee. Brace your left leg with your left arm, so the forearm is holding it. Inhale, glide your right shoulder blade up and then hang the right hip down towards the ground. So for we've done this pose before as a twist, and I want you to keep it pretty linear. So the right hip is coming down a little, but the right shoulder is sliding up. It should create a little bit of a tension line through the low abdomen. If not, don't panic. From where you are, squeeze your right leg towards the front of the mat so we begin to play with some of these deeper hip flexors. If your left foot is no longer flat, get it to a place so it can be flat and use your forearm to squeeze the leg in. Plank. Inhale, bring the hands down, step the feet back. Exhale, bend elbows. Cobra or up dog. Inhale, lift the chest. Use this as a bit of a refresh between sides. Downward facing dog. Exhale, pike the hips up and back. Warrior 2 with eagle. Inhale, right foot steps through this time. Left foot goes parallel to the back of the mat to come up. I'm going to turn so that I'm still facing you. Always feels weird to be facing out the window. Arms are coming up. Exhale, bring that right arm over the left. Wrap the arms to find the hands or hold the shoulder heads. Bend into your right leg, widen the knees. Inhale, lift the elbows to the height of the shoulders. Exhale, draw the shoulder blades down. If you're doing that as a really strong pull down through your shoulder blades, it is softer, simply so your shoulder blades are not up by your ears. At the same time, inhale, reach your elbows away from your shoulders. Pelvis points down rather than curling under. Use active feet at pressing down into the soles and lifting the toes to create a different level of connection into the legs. Extended warrior variation. Inhale, release the arms. Exhale to hook that right hip under towards the left and bring the right forearm down onto the thigh. Push away with that right forearm and then reach the left arm back so the thumb points down. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder back and begin to press the arm back. Take care this doesn't start to turn into a rotation for your chest. If your back is pinching, it stays as a side bend as that arm moves back. Stay in the pose. Inhale, unfurl through the chest and neck, scooping the skull towards the front of the mat. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder back, palm is pressing back against some perceived object that you couldn't imagine behind you. I do not know. A Great Dane that is bothersome. There we go. That's relatable. Exhale, bring your left hand down for that long lunge variation. Left knee goes down. If you need to pad your knee anytime in lunges, I'm usually working on 2 yoga mats, so I'm always padded like Princess and the Pea. If you need extra, just fold it under there. Lower into the hips. The left hand starts under the shoulder, but to get the shoulder blade moving into the position for this, take the arm forwards about a foot. Right forearm braces the right thigh. Inhale, slide your left shoulder blade up. Let it fully slide up towards your ear, and then hang the left hip down towards the mat. So as if the very front of your left leg, you're trying to get it flat to the ground. That's the idea. It's not gonna happen, okay? But it's going in that direction. From here, without moving your left leg, endeavor to squeeze your left thigh towards the front of the mat. So you're gonna get that deeper flex in the hip. If you are working on like lunge flexibility, this kind of isometric contraction is super useful to start to understand your hip flexors a bit more. So I recommend it rather than just being in like a really loose floppy lunge and hoping that things will change. Switch things on and start to connect to those muscles. I don't practice any restorative or floppy long hold poses ever. And I still class myself as a really big bender. Plank. Inhale, put your hands down, step back. That one never gets old. Chaturanga. Exhale, bend elbows. Cobra or up dog. Like from a lens looking into this class from outside, I must look insane. Downward facing dog, like in full body pink with mesh panels. Oh. Twisting lunge. Step the left foot through, put your right knee down, and then come up, setting up this 90-degree lunge position. And the reason I like this, instead of sinking into this lunge, you're going to be able to track whether the pelvis is level here. Put your hands onto your left leg and lean forwards. and stick your butt out. So frequently when I see people do twists, they do it in this flex position and then rotate, which is a bit problematic for the low back. Instead, point your butt to the back of the mat. You'll feel your lumbar curve restores somewhat, so not flat back, still looking to get that spinal curvature. Then, exhale, hook your right elbow outside that leg. Make a fist with your right hand and put the left hand directly on top of it and use your arms to be the mechanical lever that twists you to the left. If you're curious about this being active in a different way, reach the left arm straight up and squeeze your left shoulder blade back to assist with this. It's a little bit more active, so a slightly different beast. Inhale, lengthen your ribs towards the front of the mat. Exhale, twist the left ribs towards the ceiling. This is a good time to start feeling that balance of strength and softness. If it's all strength, you're just going to get stuck and find it difficult to breathe. If it's all softness, there's no secure support, especially through the low sections of your spine, which can become notoriously overmobile. Twisting warrior. Slide the right arm a little bit further. So you might find it's fine where it is. Maybe you're hooking a little bit further. Tuck the back toes and shimmy the foot back a little bit and drive the right thigh bone up. This is a phenomenal pose to connect to the strength of your leg. So that right thigh bone, visualize it lifting towards the ceiling whilst sticking your butt out. So a moment of this really strong exchange. Inhale, slide your right ribs toward your left knee. Exhale, twist left ribs towards the ceiling. Pigeon forward bend. Set the right knee down, bring your hands down. Reset the left shin, so the shin bone is at about a 4 o'clock position if your head is pointing towards 12. Knee sensitive, move that towards more of a 90 degree. This is also good for those of you that find that pigeon forward bend is registering as a bit of a non-event. Tuck the right toes so you feel the kneecap, rather than being off to the side, is pointing almost straight down, and then come down onto your elbows. Now I mentioned about not just flopping into these. Perform a low cobra style action, pulling with the arms to stretch the ribs forwards and lengthening through the back of the neck. It sure beats having your face on the floor like a pigeon eating stuff off the ground. I'm assuming that's the image. If your right knee is taking a lot of pressure, simply have the toes tucked so you can take the pressure off of that. If you're looking for a little bit of your end range quadricep extension, then work that with the knee off the ground and you'll help build that stability around the knee joint when extended. So especially if your knees have been super grumpy, that back one, you can do this strength work for it. And I want you to just save in your mind the shape that you are making, because it's going to be, it's going to come back to haunt you. We're going to use it again. Inhale, come up onto your hands. We're going to reset this pose. So if you had to take this pose and flip it onto its feet, this is essentially your warrior 2 position. We're going to use the same idea. Pick that left leg up and get it so it's right in the middle of your mat, but be on the tippy toes. So right on those tippy toes. Turn the left knee out, so as if you were showing off your inner ankle, like an area of exquisite Victorian beauty. Left arm wraps around your left shin. So showing you from the front, the aim is to be rotated in that left leg. Left arm is coming around the front, and then using the elbows to squeeze in. Once you've got that shape, tuck the right toes. So this starts to create the basis for our next part. Start moving the weight forward so you can bring the back foot in until your elbows get above your hands, and see if that will allow to lift the right leg up. So this is called single leg crow, but at the minute it isn't an arm balance, not yet anyway. So lifting that leg up and scooping the chest towards the front of the mat. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower the right leg down. Step back into plank. So it's a strong pose, tracing an arm balance. Exhale, bend the elbows. Cobra or up dog. So your standing poses start to play once you're upside down as well. So they're really important to work. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Twisting lunge. bring the right leg forwards. Now you don't need to come up this time, going for that 90-degree angle, but pitch the chest forwards so you feel you can get the action of sticking your butt out. Exhale, hook left elbow outside the right knee, make a fist with the left hand. Either stack the right hand on top and use that to generate the twist, or open the arm up towards the ceiling and then begin to turn the chest using the back muscles a little bit. So it's exploring what your preference is here. Inhale, scoop your chest towards the front of the mat. Exhale, turn the right ribs towards the ceiling, but without letting your pelvis swing to the left. So if you know you're on the more flexible end of the spectrum, lean your right hip to the right. Stage 2. And you can keep the arms as they are, or slide that left arm a little bit more to the outside of the leg. The second piece is moving this towards warrior. Tuck the left toes, it's very short at this point. Move the foot further back so you can work the leg straighter with the heel, left heel, more above the knee. Inhale, drive your left thigh bone up towards the ceiling and stick your butt out. Use this to create the support structure for the pelvis. Work the inner thighs so they're squeezing towards each other, getting that adduction. So think the abdominal exercises we do with the block where you squeeze in, that same deal. So really important physical structure. Pigeon forward bend. Inhale, release the hands down. Reset that right shin. So either head at 12 o'clock, shin at 8, left leg walks back, or knee sensitive to minimize the torque on the knee. 90 degrees means that that tibia isn't going to be doing that additional movement, but it does demand more from squaring off your hips, so that may not happen. If it is possible, tuck the left toes and endeavor to point the left knee down, and then come down onto your elbows. Use your arms to pull the chest forwards, getting that little bit of low back decompress. I'm a big fan, especially when my hips feel like they're jammed, to use a tuck in the back toes to pull the heel towards the back of the mat. Back when I was teaching in studio and I was allowed to actually use my hands on humans, gosh, it feels like a long time ago now, then one of the things that we would do is just gently pull on that back leg to assist with that decompression of the hip. But you can do it yourself by tucking the toes. It's not the same as, having somebody pull on your leg, but hey, we'll take what we can get. Or am I only pulling your leg? Yes, definitely losing it. Inhale, bring yourself up, reset your right shin. Oh dear. I blame this very exciting coloured mat, that's what it is. I just need to go back to my black mat. Roll the right knee out to the right, so getting that rotation. So this is that little arm balance preparation. Right arm wraps around the front of the shin. Bring the elbows in towards each other, thinking about what we were doing in Dolphin, the action of squeezing in, and then tuck the left toes, lifting the knee. This is a great workable stage to start to feel an active rotation in the leg, a squeeze in the arms whilst lengthening the spine. So you're welcome to stay here. Otherwise, start to bring the weight in so you feel that everything is shifting towards the foot and the hands, perhaps lifting the left leg up. Don't jump. If you jump, it could turn into an emergency forward roll, which would be disastrous. Because I don't know if you've got glass coffee tables and stuff. I hope not. P.S. Glass coffee tables? Nasty. Alright, bring your left leg down. Step your feet back. This is my own personal observation. Chaturanga. Exhale, bend elbows. Cobra or up dog. Inhale, lift chest. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Straddle forward bend. Step your left foot through between your hands. Walk the hands around towards the right and then parallel the feet. If anything, very slightly turn the toes inwards. If this is not your most accessible range, hands under shoulders is going to be great because you can do the action of bending your legs to point your sit bones up. Inhale, stretch the ribs away from hips. Exhale, bend elbows. More flexible day, fingers might be lining up with the toes and doing a pull like chaturanga to help draw the chest a little further down. Ideally do this without excessively rounding your back. So if you know that the pull is just causing that rounding, instead unfurl the spine towards the ground. If your head is on the floor and you're thinking, oh, that's it for me, I'll never be able to do this pose, shorten your stance and your head won't be on the floor. That's an easy one. Extended Warrior. Turn your left foot forwards, walk your hands towards it, but we're staying in this low position. Take the left hand underneath your left shoulder, inhale to reach the right arm up. Bend into your left leg. So this is the stage 1 setup for this before we move into interlock. Exhale, squeeze your right shoulder back, so think crowd control, palm presses back. Left arm goes underneath the leg, ideally not around your butt and crotch, go around your thigh. Right hand comes around to clasp. So we're able to create this interlock lunge position. If that's too spicy, stick with the extended warrior. That's going to be fine. Easy bird of paradise. So whether you're clasped or not, step the right foot forwards and stand on the right leg to come up. If you're in the clasp, your aim is to hop around like a bird of paradise or start to extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. If you're not in that, then you're coming up holding onto the knee and going for that single leg extension out to the side. If you're in the clasp, make sure you haven't bent that bottom leg to start getting the top one. Straighten the bottom leg, level the pelvis, and then extend your quadriceps. Now be cautious, especially with leg extensions and straight leg positions. There's usually a lot of scooping under in the pelvis. Get your shoulders atop your hips, and if anything, stick your butt out. Then extend the leg. It will give you a truer reflection of where this is at. Plank. Set the feet down, bring the hands down, step back. Who knew that one was going places? Chaturanga. Exhale, bend elbows. Cobra or up dog. Inhale, lift the chest. Push down into your feet, both feet pressing evenly. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Straddle forward bend. Inhale, right foot steps forward. Turn the feet towards the left side of your mat. Either come down to folding the elbows. If folding the arms feels relatively simple, take the arms through and set them either in line with your heels or further back than your heels, giving you a slightly different way of working with your arms. If this is very accessible, narrow the stance a smidge and see if that gives you something different to play with. So especially if you are moving towards the more flexible end here, this is where there is a need to find that strength element rather than absolute softness here. The way you do that is by pointing your sit bones up towards the ceiling and extending the low back rather than big abdominal flex. Interlock Warrior. Inhale, turn the right foot forwards, walk your hands around. Now either set this up with the right hand underneath the shoulder and the left arm up with the right leg bent, or begin to navigate towards the interlock pose. Now, once you get the interlock, don't be too hasty at trying to stand up. This pose is a pose in its own right. Exhale, squeeze the left shoulder back. Right arm is coming underneath the right leg and goes around the right hip to find the clasp. If you clasp around your butt, I call it a G-string bind. It's not what we're after. So if that is what's happening, I would rather you did something else because it just gets uncomfortable. Alright, whether you are in the interlock or the easy bird, step forwards and then stand on that left leg. See if you can do this without scooping the pelvis under, but go for that right leg straightening. If you're doing the standing version, holding onto the right knee, left leg is straight, and focus on extending the leg without lifting your sit bone or scooping your pelvis under. So being really aware of the foundations of the pose. It's a tough pose from a quadricep extension point of view. Birds of paradise. Inhale, step your feet down, bring your hands down, go back to down dog, and then set the knees down. So we are going to have another repeat on that. Come on, Finley, brain. The pose that we were doing, the single leg crow, with the option of up leveling this to the arm balance. With the arm balance, you can find that by doing option 1, you can create all the requisite shapes And whether the back foot lifts up or not is irrelevant, because the pose is going to be as strong as the dolphin that you were doing earlier, as strong as the warrior poses you were doing. So the kind of finishing touch of it is irrelevant. Okay, so already sack that off, doesn't matter. Watch first. So you'll be starting in the same setup as before, but instead picking the foot up so that it is off the floor and your shin on the arm. From that place, tucking the right toes and seeing if there's some facility to lift that leg up. Strong day, the leg is going down and up a few times to create an oil rigger. That's much harder. Now, if you're thinking, that's not happening, how dare you? Then you find the same thing as before. The leg goes up and you can feel that pike action, exhaling down, inhaling up, simply without the foot lifting off the floor. So this is a small detail, the foot off the floor. If you have a block, you can simulate it a bit more by elevating the foot. All right, I imagine the same would be possible in platform shoes, although I have not tested this theory. Okay, your turn. Come on in. Left foot is down. Rotate the left leg out to the left. Wrap your left arm around the left shin. Right elbow is squeezing in also. Decide, are you going to work with the left foot on the floor, or is it possible for the foot to lift up? Instead of letting everything collapse, so for example, if the angle of the leg has gone to like 45 degrees, push away with the left leg so it stays about 90 degrees. Tuck your right toes. So here we are working more that kind of lunge position. Bring the back leg in to begin the calculation of weight going forward so the elbows get above the wrists. And then maybe the right leg lifts towards the ceiling, but without jumping. If there's some control, then feel for an exhale to lower the leg almost to the floor, and an inhale to lift to create that oil rigger. Remember, the leg can stay down the whole time. Set the knees down, come up, give your wrists a bit of a roll, give the shoulders a bit of movement. So it's a hugely protracted state with the elbows squeezing in. This is hugely transferable when it comes to things like handstands, because it will help give you the structures for this. Okay, second side. If you feel like your wrists are taking the hit, do this on the fists, but make sure you're doing the option with the foot on the floor. Otherwise, it is a huge amount of weight. It's your whole body weight going up and then toppling down into your hands. It takes a while to train your grip to accommodate that. Especially if you're working on a yoga mat on top of carpet, your wrists will be bending more than they would on a solid floor. Right foot is forwards, right arm around the right shin. Either tuck the left toes and begin to step the leg in and lifting it like vertical split to do oil rigger there. Or have the right foot elevated, pushing into the right leg, right arm rather, and tucking the left toes. Maybe that left leg can lift. That becomes a little bit more challenging. If you're trying to do this making your pelvis level, it's not massively important if it is level or not. Now these are arm balances, so there's that dirty B word, balance. If it drops or falls or something, just tuck and roll. Alright, inhale, set your knees down, swing your legs around, and take the legs so they are straight forwards. This next pose is a forward bend and a side bend, but I want you to feel that you're creating a lateral flexion through this section of your spine rather than just the low section of your spine. The low spine is really flexible with that sideways movement and can become really flexible to the point it gets unstable. The other stuff further up is usually a little bit more stubborn. Bring the right foot in towards your left thigh. It doesn't need to be so in that you can barely function. It's just wherever it needs to be. Flex the left foot so the toes are pulling towards your shin. The placement of the right hand isn't arbitrary. I want you to be really clear on this. The fingertips are going to point down and go over the top of the foot. So it is fingertips pointing down the same line as the toes. Take your left hand outside your left shin. So I'm going to show you this facing forwards. So hands come over the top. Left hand is outside the left shin and use it to push your ribs to the right. Exhale, bend the right elbow to the right and lean your rib cage to the right. So you're creating this arc and bend to the side and using this left hand to assist with that whilst in the forward bend. If you can't get a hold of the left leg too easily, then bend the leg until you can get it. Level your collarbones. So if the right collarbone is up, bring it down and lean the ribs to the right. Give this a little bit of juice by pressing your left foot into your hand, which will give you this lever sensation to potentially deepen your forward bend. Inhale, arc the right ribs to the right. Exhale, lean your head to the left. So not scrunching either side of the neck, but completing the arc in the spine. Pelvis is level. So if you feel like your left sit bone is lifting, go ahead and anchor it down and lean through your rib cage. Inhale, bring yourself up, change sides. So left foot is coming in towards the thigh. Take that left hand over the top of the right shin and feel that you can get that lever press with the foot. Right hand is outside the right shin bone. Inhale, lean the ribs to the left, bend the left elbow. Use a pushing action through your right hand whilst anchoring down through your right sit bone. Pull with your left arm. So this is an odd one. The arm is pulling while simultaneously bending and leaning your armpit to the side, trying to get into some of these really sticky bits around your ribs. If your elbow is really bent, see if you can get over the top of that foot a wee bit more, so you're playing with the tension line a wee bit more. If it's really, really bent, you're going to feel kind of stopping around about the elbow. So this is playing with where your lats hook into your upper arm. Inhale, bring yourself up to center. Bring the soles of the feet into Badakanasana. So frequently when I see people doing this pose, they've got their feet really close to the pelvis, the legs kind of flopped out to the side. I want you to take them so they're about a foot to a foot and a half further forwards. Actively use your butt muscles to widen the knees. Now instead of doing any weird like butt pulls, like trying to move whatever out of the way, which is a really weird thing to do, if you feel like you need something, just pick it up and put it back down again. I guarantee the thing you needed has been done without your butt pulling open, and that's the whole thing. Use your hands behind you. I don't think it serves any useful function in a decent society. Inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, push with your hands to create the initial movement of the forward bend. So even if you're straight up and focusing on lifting up and tucking the chin, this is still recruiting your postural muscles to create this length. If you're able to fold without just rounding in your back, then start to take it further forwards. Perhaps taking the arms to brace around your shins. So think this is like the single leg crow positioning and pulling with the arms. So that requires obviously a little bit more depth. One thing you can definitely do if you're thinking that you don't have the depth, if you hold your feet and pull with the arms, you can use your back muscles. So the shoulder blades pulling back, the lats pulling down away from the ears to help give you that scooping forwards action. Inhale, bring yourself up. So it's a very different way of working forward bend instead of just sort of doing this like flop, head butt down. It is Shavasana time. Final relaxation pose, the part where you get to lie down at the end of class and not do arm balances and poses of that ilk. Our poses have predominated in side bends and forward bend poses. If you feel like your back would be better supported being down on your abdomen, then take Shavasana in this place to allow the lumbar curve to restore itself. Otherwise, flip yourself around onto your back and choose a comfortable rest position, only for a couple of minutes. This is a moment to integrate what you've done. So bringing together everything that we've been working on throughout practice. But it is also a moment at the end of class where if there is a drive for strength and deepening, then let this become the moment of class where there is that softening and that relaxing. begin to deepen your breath. Come back to that steady whisper breath that we've been using in practice. And while this whisper sound is more deliberate, let it happen without being strenuous. Start to take some movement into fingers and toes. If you're laying on your abdomen, use your hands under shoulders to pick yourself up. If you're on your back, set the feet flat or bring the knees in and then roll to one side. Bring yourself towards a seated position that feels like it gives you that support through your hips, but doesn't feel like you're collapsing just to achieve some kind of posture. It's genuinely just posturing at that point. Bring your hands together at chest. Take a very deep breath in. Exhale, bow forwards. Namaste.